Hello everybody, welcome back to another video for the day. Now we're going back into Tales of Neckbeard. I know it's been a few days since the last time I was able to go in there, but there's still good content to cover, so let's get right into that. Beforehand, if you haven't already, be sure to like the video, comment down below during the video if you see something you want to discuss about with other people who are watching also, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, turn on the notifications, and check out the Discord in the link below. Thank you so much, and let's get right into this. Let's go. Our first story comes from username Ashley Amethyst69. Seeing a lot more neckbeards at the gym lately, some are okay and some are creepy. So here's the thing, I enjoy going to the gym, and as long as someone is nice, I'll give them help. As long as I know they're here to improve themselves. That being said, every gym has its creeps, but mine was fine. Cue the music, and then the neckbeards arrived. So starting back in July, I noticed a lot more neckbeards arriving in weeaboo shirts. At first I tried to help them out, but eventually they started to creep me out with the talk about swole girls and muscle mommies, and I freaked out. Not gonna lie, that would freak me out too. Now, I love anime, and that being said, these guys had a very unhealthy relationship with it. Like I said, toxic weeaboo levels of obsession. Now, my buddy who goes to the same gym talked to them for a bit because they asked for help, and he asked them why they wanted to work out. Turns out they had seen an anime called How Heavy Are the Dumbbells You Lift, and figured that the gym was a great place to meet girls. Spoiler alert though, hitting on women in the gym never works because we're here to work out, not to flirt with you, and even so, most of the guys we flirt with tend to be in shape. I'm sorry, that's just how it is. TLDR, anime called How Heavy Are the Dumbbells You Lift is making neckbeards go to the gym and creeping me out. There is a silver lining finally though, because with the season only being 12 episodes, as soon as that season's over, all the neckbeards are going to be leaving you, so it's going to be less creepy. It's one of those things you kind of just have to grit with for the time being, and then it'll go away over time. Having actually seen How Heavy Are the Dumbbells You Lift myself, it's actually not that bad of a show, and they do provide some legit muscle diagrams, like to actually explain which ones the machines work with, the free weights, and they actually give exercises towards the end. If anything, it's not that bad of a show, but it's one of those shows you should probably not watch around the family. Our next story comes to us from username Babs DeMarco. I guess some people never grow out of it. Hello everyone, I was originally reluctant to post this since Reddit has some weird rule that if you write something, it becomes theirs or whatever, but I figured that was the piece of writing. It wasn't something that I'd want to keep for myself, so I went for it. Hopefully you enjoy. Yesterday, my grandmother and I went to a local supermarket to pick up some detergent that was on sale. From the moment we drove to the parking lot, I noticed this older guy staring at me, mouth agape, from his car as we both looked for spots. He was very pale and on the heavier side, with white, unkempt hair and clothes. Not that I looked much better in all sweats and a dad cap. I didn't think much of it in the moment and just went along my way. After picking up some groceries of my own, I ran into one of my best friends who works there, and we did some catching up. She had lunch in a bit, so I figured that I might as well take her out for food with us. After she had left to finish off some work tasks and get her stuff to leave, I met up with my grandmother at the front of the store to cash out our things. That's when our older neckbeard protagonist, ONB, comes in behind me and notices that I don't have that much in my cart and tries to get my attention. Pussycat. I paid no mind to this, and honestly, I would have thought it was kinda cute and things not turned out the way in which they did. Senora, I knew he was trying to get me at this point and turned around. You can go over there as reference to the express lanes, you know, since you don't have a lot. Oh, it's okay, I'm behind her. Since my grandmother has a membership discount card and I don't. My grandmother turns around and tells me that she had helped this man find something earlier in Spanish, and I replied to her. The ONB hears this and asks, "What is that, Spanish or Italian?" "Spanish," I say to him. "Did you understand Italian? A little bit?" "A little. They're almost the same thing," I say, almost pleasantly sarcastic. To this, he greets me and asks how I'm doing in Italian. "I'm doing okay, thank you," I say with a smile. He seems kind of impressed by this, and he says, he counts in his fingers, 7 languages. I smile and nod, not entirely believing him. As I turn around, I caught a whiff of him, and I really do wish I was exaggerating as to say this, but the stench stung me all the way around to my throat. I held back a choking fit. How unaware of yourself can you be? I freak out when I don't shower for 2 days, let alone let myself get to that point. Either way, I move my cart up and start to put my things down on the conveyor belt when my friend appears from around the corner and she walks up behind me in line. As I'm about to put the detergent bottles on, the ONB almost panics and says, "You don't have to do that, senora, only one, okay?" I lightheartedly chuckle and think he's only being sarcastic, but he grows increasingly impatient as I place the other bottles on to be scanned. He turns and sees that my friend is in uniform and says, "Tell her that she doesn't have to do this." She turns, already annoyed at this point, and says, "Well, if she wants them bagged, she'll put them all on there." They repeat this interaction a few more times until my friend decides to go around to the front and bag my grandmother's groceries for us. He continues talking, but I, incredibly uncomfortable at this point, just pretend not to hear him. He continues to talk for a while and seems to notice that no one's listening to him anymore. He begins to mutter about how he had to get ham instead of turkey because they're all out. I also noticed that he kept on bumping into my cart with his, and eventually he was doing it himself and had his mouth open again while my hand was still on it. He knocked it off as soon as I let go to swipe my card. It was pretty weird to say the least. I figured that I may as well use it as a barrier between us in case he'd be bold enough to try anything smart. I quickly pay for my things and got us all out of there as soon as possible, checking to see if he noticed that we left. I've read and heard horror stories about people getting followed by neckbeards, and I did not want us to be one of them. As we leave the store, I turn to my friend and say, I love it when mediocre men are so involved with themselves that they think they're anything but. Who are we adding, she asked me. The guy that was behind us. Oh yeah, he needed to shut the frick up. Thank you all for reading the first neckbeard story ever. Well, it's not my first one technically, but it's the first one I've decided to put on here. May your Doritos always be crunchy, your dew be bubbly, and your pits freshly smelling. Stay safe out there. It's actually unfortunate because I've dealt with some people like this because I work as a cashier basically, and whenever I get stuffed bags, sometimes people say, oh, there's just 2 of this thing, scan 1 twice, and sometimes I do that and it messes up inventory because while some items might look the same, they have a different item number. But then again, it's a whole nother story when you're trying to tell other customers how to do their shopping. And yeah, don't be lying, we know darn well that you do not know 7 languages. Who are you trying to fool? Our next story comes to us from username a bard named Alex. Childhood friend Neckbeard gets mad when I don't respond to him and outs me to everyone. Alright, this is not one of the typical stories people post here, so if you're looking for weird Neckbeard things, this is not for you. First things first, I'm a trans dude, and some people know this, my friends and everyone at my college, but when this happened, I was out to like 5 people. I had this friend, let's call him Daniel, the neckbeard. We've known each other since forever. He was my best friend until he started hitting on me. Daniel is your typical neckbeard. He likes lolly off-brand, smells really bad, has a literal neckbeard, complains all the time about he can't get a girlfriend, etc. At one point, he was so desperate that he started hitting on me, saying that we should just kiss and hang out, just the 2 of us. I have a girlfriend whom I love very much, and he knew that, but I just laugh and change the subject. One day though, I'm an artist and I like to draw and paint. I was showing him my new creation. It was a paint of the moon and Daniel was really into it. Like, he would tell me that his drawing made him hard and proceed to send me a picture of his, yeah. Let me say just one thing, that dude probably never washed his junk cause holy, I could see the dirtiness. I proceed to block him, etc. The next day I get a text from my best friend telling me that Daniel contacted her and wanted to talk to me. I explained to her the situation and she was on my side of things. Fast forward a week later, my old friends from school are trying to throw a party with only the people from 7th grade, Daniel was one of them, and they made a group to talk about it and we started to ask how we were now in our lives and etc. I wasn't in the group but my best friend was, so she told me everything. These people from 7th grade didn't know I was trans because I live very hostile country for LGBTQ plus people and wasn't feeling comfortable sharing this information with everyone. When they asked about me, Daniel was the first one to say, his name is actually Alex now, and he is doing it on purpose. I could tell he was telling everyone this out of pure anger and then proceeded to tell how I've discovered that he was trans and he told them I wanted surgery and everything. These are things I told him in private. This absolutely destroyed me. I had an anxiety attack because of this, one of the really bad ones. Daniel, if you're reading this, please stop trying to contact me. I want nothing from you. Well, I will say this to you, Daniel, you messed up as a human in general big time. But you know what? If you want to, comment down below. Out yourself on my channel, you know, where there's about 5,000 people that are waiting to hound you into the ground. Alex, I will say this, things are probably really bad right now, but fortunately enough, whenever things are bad, they eventually do get better. I'm really hoping that does. If you want to make that Daniel guy feel real bad, be sure to link this video and then, you know, just to put the timestamp so he can see himself getting outed. I'm not saying that Daniel is his real name, usually these things have fake names put up to it. They probably just didn't say that Daniel was his real name or anything. Daniel's probably just a made-up name for this whole thing. Our last story comes to us from username code_momode. Catnip for neckbeards. This isn't a humble brag, I don't like it at all, and I have no idea how to make it stop in any sane way. I'm a 32-year-old Japanese-American woman working as a software engineer in the PNW. I liked anime a lot when I was in middle school, but the fan base has honestly ruined it for me. Gaming can be fun, and I might have a day or two every few months where I can play Minecraft and Starbound for many hours at a time, but I'd be lying if I said they were good at video games in general. I like weird stuff like Gavin and Michael play pals, and achievement hunters a la Shark Simulator. I really think that I'm a very unamusing human. Conventions are difficult for me because those types of large crowds cause my anxiety to flare up. I'm in no way a partier. I prefer fewer people to quieter atmospheres. I work 60 hours a week and have just enough social skill to adequately demo software I help build to potential buyers. I live by myself with one cat. Sometimes I make art. I've dated several neckbeards since high school before realizing what a neckbeard actually was. I was married for about 6 years, not to a neckbeard though, and have tried on and off again to start dating. I have no luck because, at least as far as dating apps go, I only seem to attract neckbeards. I don't know how to fix this. I feel like I either have to lie about myself or do a complete reboot of my personality and hobbies. I'm not a drinker, so bars aren't an option. I realize that this isn't on par with the rest of the sub's content, but I don't know who else to ask. I mean, yeah, well, true, this wasn't like the neckbeard story of the century. It was definitely a story to be covered on their subreddit. I would say basically just do what makes you happy. You don't really need to have that other person in your life, although yeah, that is somewhat of a bonus. And if you keep on saying that you're going to be attracting neckbeards, then maybe just take a break from the whole scenery of it all, and just maybe they'll kind of just go away. Or actually, one thing you could just put in your profile, just straight up no neckbeards. Like seriously, just put that. You'll get either really funny content that you could use on just neckbeard things, or just you'll actually meet somebody good. I'm not trying to be a smartass either, like that just came to my head as I was recording the past line. But that is going to have to be it for the video. If you would like what you have seen, be sure to like the video, leave a comment down below, start a good old discussion with the other people watching, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, turn on them notifications, and check out the Discord in the description box below. I'll be sure to see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching, and bye bye.